It was supposed to be a regular day at the restaurant, diners chatting, plates clinking, and the staff bustling about. But everything changed when a security guard approached a black man who had just entered. Without much explanation, the man was asked to leave. Confused and caught off guard, he questioned why. The security guard stood firm, insisting he didn't belong there. Patrons watched, some uneasy, others silent, as the man was escorted out the door. What no one knew, not even the security guard, was that this wasn't just any customer. The man being kicked out had a connection to the restaurant far deeper than anyone could imagine. Behind those very doors, his family's history, hard work, and dreams were etched into every corner. As tensions rose and truths came to light, the story took a turn that left everyone stunned. What happened next would change everything. The man walked away quietly, but there was a fire in his eyes that hinted this wasn't over. Outside, he pulled out his phone and made a call. His voice was calm but firm as he explained what had just happened. Onlookers, unaware of the call's significance, went back to their meals, but the tension still lingered in the air. Inside the restaurant, the security guard returned to his post, brushing off the incident as just another part of the job. Some of the staff whispered to each other, exchanging uneasy glances. They knew the man wasn't just any customer. They'd seen him before, talking to the owner. But no one dared to say anything, unsure of how to handle what had just happened. Meanwhile, the man stood outside, looking at the restaurant sign. His family's name was right there, bold and proud. And yet, he had been treated like a stranger. As the man stood outside, memories of the restaurant flooded his mind. He thought of his parents who had poured their hearts into building this place, and the countless hours his family spent making it a success. This wasn't just a restaurant to him, it was part of his identity. But now he was treated like he didn't belong in a space his family had worked so hard for. Inside, the staff grew increasingly uneasy. One of the waiters finally spoke up, mentioning the man's connection to the owner, but the security guard shrugged it off. "If it's a mistake, someone will let me know," he said. Still, doubt lingered in his voice. Meanwhile, the man's phone call had set something in motion. Moments later, a sleek car pulled up, and an older woman stepped out. She walked toward the restaurant with a purposeful stride. Her presence was commanding, and the staff froze as she entered. This wasn't just anyone. She was the owner. The tension in the room was palpable. The security guard looked confused, unsure of what was happening. Everyone was waiting for the next move, and the air felt thick with anticipation. Something big was about to unfold. The room fell silent as the owner's heels clicked against the tiled floor. She scanned the restaurant, her sharp eyes landing on the security guard. Without raising her voice, she asked, "Where is he?" The staff exchanged nervous glances, and the guard stammered, "The man? He left. I didn't know." She held up a hand to stop him. "You didn't know who he was, but you decided he didn't belong." Her words were calm, but each one carried weight. The guard shifted uncomfortably, realizing the gravity of the situation. Outside, the man watched from the sidewalk, hesitant but determined. He couldn't walk away, not this time. As he stepped back toward the entrance, his heart raced. This wasn't just about him anymore. It was about setting things right. Inside, customers whispered among themselves. Everyone could feel that something was about to break. The air was thick with suspense as the door opened, and the man stepped back in. All eyes turned to him, and the room seemed to hold its breath. As the man stepped inside, a murmur rippled through the room. The owner turned to see him, her face softening for a brief moment before her expression hardened again. She gestured for him to come closer. "Is this the man you asked to leave?" She asked the security guard, her voice steady but laced with disappointment. The guard nodded slowly, his confidence faltering. I didn't know. He looked like. He stopped mid-sentence, realizing there was no way to explain his actions without digging himself deeper. The owner glanced around the room, her gaze landing on the staff, the customers, and finally the man standing before her. "This is my son," she announced firmly, her words slicing through the tension like a knife. Guests echoed, and the security guard's face went pale. But before anyone could fully process the revelation, the man interrupted. "Mom, this isn't just about me. This happens every day to people who don't have a connection to the owner. What are we doing about that?" His voice was calm, but his words carried an undeniable power. The room fell into stunned silence again. This wasn't just about one incident, it was about a larger problem. And now no one could ignore it. The room buzzed with an uneasy energy as the man's words hung in the air. The security guard looked down, avoiding the stares now piercing through him. The owner took a deep breath, her usual commanding presence wavering. "You're right," she finally said, her voice breaking the silence. "This isn't just about today. We've built something here, but we failed to protect the values it stands for." Turning to the security guard, she said firmly, "You're relieved of your duties effective immediately. This restaurant isn't just a business. It's a symbol of our family, our community, and respect for everyone who walks through those doors. That's what it will continue to be." The man nodded, satisfied, but before he could speak, the owner added, "But there's something else you should know." She reached into her bag and pulled out a folder. "While you were outside, I got a call. Someone's been trying to buy this place for months, and now they're making threats." The man's jaw tightened. "Who?" he asked. She hesitated. "An old rival of your father's. They're claiming this land belongs to them. We're not just fighting ignorance. We're fighting to keep what's ours." The tension shifted again, and the stakes were higher than anyone had imagined. This wasn't just about family, it was about survival. And the battle was far from over. The man stared at his mother, the weight of her words settling in. He thought of his father, who had fought so hard to build this place, and the responsibility now resting on their shoulders. "We won't lose this," he said firmly. "Not to anyone." Over the next few weeks, they rallied the community. The restaurant's story spread, drawing support from loyal customers, neighbors, and even strangers who believed in what the place represented. Legal battles were fought, but the family stood their ground, proving their rightful ownership. In the end, the rivals' claims were dismissed, and the restaurant remained in the family's hands. The security guard's mistake became a turning point, not just for him, but for everyone. Policies were put in place to ensure fairness and respect for all. As the man looked around the bustling restaurant one evening, he felt pride. This wasn't just a victory, it was a new beginning.